Okay, welcome back to my channel, guys. In this video I am going to be presenting my pal Runeo character. Now pal Runeo is a fictional video game character I made up, and it's for a future video game project that I hope will be created sometime in the future. Now it may not be created until 10 years from now, so this is like an ambitious future project that I hope I'll be able to complete sometime in my life. But this character right here, we got the this is my Pop Tropica avatar, and just going to use that Pop Tropica avatar as well as my Roblox avatar. Just random avatars I have from two kind of RPG sites, role-playing sites. Those are just the characters you can make on there. These two characters are avatars, and this is basically going to be the main protagonist in my future video game. And so the video game is called Time-Avionics-Anomaly. I'll even put that in bold. So that's Time-Avionics-Anomaly, and we're just going to go. So this is on Word. I created this document, and it's basically a custom Wikipedia, a biography of Pal Runeo, also known short name as or nickname as Mr. Pal. So he's a park ranger. So some of these here are based them off of some of my interests. So park ranging, I love to do that. I really like researching history, adventurer, creative artist. I'm a big creative artist. Philanthropical thinker. Yep. So a philanthropical thinker is basically just pretty much like a what's the word? What do you call them? I can't remember the word. Oh my god! It's like the ancient philosophers. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot that word. But anyway, yeah, so basically philanthropical thinker is basically just a philosopher. And yeah. And so here I says here the crown of glory, a relic he discovered in ancient Egypt within the Sinai Peninsula. And that's basically just this thing, blurry piece of quality right here. So let's go read this. So I'll redrew it, but I'll basically paraphrase because I don't need to read it exactly word for word. So basically what I said, Pal Runeo is a fictional character, and there's also two other main protagonists in the Time-Avionics-Anomaly game series. But Mr. Pal is the main one, and he is known, or the role this character Pal Runeo is going to play in my game is he's going to help restore the universe, other dimensions, other time periods by completing missions and receiving direct communications of help from spirits, aliens, rock aliens, and other such information from the personified aspects of things of life, like evolution and so on. And the one thing I'm going for here is like these rock creatures. I really want to introduce these rock creatures into my game. And so here is the biography of Pal Runeo. So Pal Runeo is basically going to be like a Mediterranean person. He comes from, but within the Mediterranean, he comes from two people groups known as the Basques and the Sardinians. So the Sardinians basically just come from Sardinia, western Mediterranean island, and then the Basque or reside in like the Pyrenees region of Western Europe. So that's like southwest France, northwest Spain, and That's where his heritage is gonna be. And his mom is Sardinian and his father is Basque. Mr. Powell is nicknamed that his boss Roder is going to be the boss who works for in his pork ranging business, or in the boss in the pork ranging organization that he works for. So Roder is the name that his boss came up for him. And and so his parents moved to the Adelaide Hills from the Aeolian Islands, specifically Panarea, which is their native island. So both his parents are professional archaeologists, which is his dad is an archaeologist, restaurant owner, mom and dad, sailor, dad, trader, dad, sociologist, mom, doctor's mom. So mom is going to be more like a nurse type figure. And farmers, they're both farmers in their name Panarea, sorry, while operating their own restaurant business in the then Eastern Bloc, Soviet-controlled Cold War era Yugoslavia, proxy Yugoslavia, modern Serbia, and Pula, Croatia. An Australian overseas businessman ate at their restaurant, the one in Savid. Greatly impressed by the high quality of their food, restaurant hygienes, and drinks. Offered for them to move their position in South Australia, where their business could flourish in a capitalist setting. Instead of them taking a plane flight to South Australia, they simply used one of their sailboats to, you guessed it, sail there. They used sailboats to sail somewhere. Who does that? They had two restaurant businesses, one in Savid, and one in Pula. They sold both of those and sailed to Australia from the region of Pula. Pau Runeo was born in South Australia, where he lived most of his life. So name origins. This isn't too interesting. Pau's mother's name is Paula, Sardinian, feminine name of Paulus, former Paulus, ultimately Paul. Her maiden name was Ferrari, of Sardinian etymological origins, meaning blacksmiths. So his mom's family's heritage comes from a line of blacksmiths. His father's name is Arax, of masculine Basque etymological origins, meaning the afternoon dusk. His last name Runeo is of unknown origins or etymological meanings. It has been suggested in Series 1 of the Time-Avionics-Anomaly by two people, Hal's boss, Roder, and the Australian businessman who encountered Eros, his father, that the name Runeo may come from the Old Germanic word rune or runes. According to Roder's own words, Runeo is probably a Latinized form of the Old Germanic word runes, which meant the hidden laws. Thought to originate itself from a Proto-Indo-European word, the Germanic tribes refer to their alphabet-derived written language as runes. Perhaps the Sardinian, this is Roder, Hal's boss talking here, perhaps the Basque and Sardinian people who recently migrated to the Aeolian Islands during the late migration period, seeing that the Vandals referred to their alphabet as runes, adopted this loan word into their own alphabets or own vocabularies during Vandal occupation of the Aeolian Islands. So Pau Runeo took a DNA test, and his results were 56 to 58 combined, 56 to 58% Sardinian and Basque, 12 to 14% Kazakh Turkic, which is an ethnic group in Central Asia, 5% Kabul Berber, which is a Berber ethnic group native to Algeria. So that's the native Berbers from Algeria. 5% Amhara Ethiopia. So the Amhara people are the second largest ethnic group in Ethiopia. 5% Icelandic. 5% Kent Yeniseian, so that's an indigenous group from Siberia, closely related to actually the Native Americans. 5% Ugro-Finnic, which are the Maori people from Western Russia, and 5% Sicilian, which are the ethnic group of, you guessed it, Sicily. So the Icelandic genome within Powell's DNA may derive from a group of Viking settlers who settled in the Western Mediterranean islands, who happened to have sailed there from Iceland. I wrote Sardinia, vast regions of Spain or France, but you know. The Central Asian, Kazakh, Ethiopian, and Ugro-Finnic components likely comes from the Russian and Ottoman empires. The Russian and Ottoman empires often moved entire people groups into more westward locations, especially ones perceived as potential future threats to their rule in their respective regions. These newly placed people groups started intermarrying with local population. The exact component probably comes from either the Ottomans or Russians or both. Ugro-Finnic most likely comes from Russian influence in the Caucasus, while Ethiopian probably derives from Ottoman influence in the region. The Kazakh Turks, Maori Finns inhabited roughly the same region of the Eurasian steppes. The Ottoman Turks, or the Ottoman royal family, were Ughurs, Turkic tribes from Central Asia, same as the Turkmens of today. The Kazakh Turks, the Kazakh tribes are more similar to other indigenous groups from Siberia, Mongolia, the Manchu people, etc. The Maori people are most genetically similar to people from Finland, Hungary, and Estonia, as well as the Ket people from central northern Siberia to a lesser extent. And Hora people have historically traded and intermarried with Mediterranean civilizations since ancient Egyptian and Babylonian times. Berber, Sicilian, and Sardino-based genetic markers are typical for native populations that reside within the Western Mediterranean islands, especially islands such as Sardinia, Ibiza, Sicily, or even Panarea, which is where both his parents originate from. Okay. So Powell was born and raised in the Adelaide Hills. During his teenage years, he had a short-term, part-time job at Meals on Wheels, delivering meals to the disabled and elderly. He has had a passion for creating comic books since the age of 10 and researching historical material since the age of 16. Having grown up in the natural hills, he was inclined to get a nature-based job. When he was 18 years old, he got employment as a junior park ranger. 18 years old, junior park ranger. 21 years old, he became a senior young park ranger, a special rank and privilege to young employees displaying savant-like work abilities. He is sometimes seen making short comic skits in his cabin, or reading a book on the history of various subjects, such as history or avionics. So avionics is basically the middle word in my future video game projects is going to be avionics. So Time-Avionics-Anomaly. That's going to be the full sentence. Time-Avionics-Anomaly. Avionics is basically just the equipment, the electrical, the electrical gadgets within the plane that make the plane function properly. He spent the later part of his life traveling through time, different dimensions, teleporting to space, examining advanced technology, and going on existential altering mission. So basically an average Aussie life. On Mr. Powell's birthday, one of his co-workers granted him his daughter's remote-controlled infield drone. Not Powell's daughter, his co-workers. Robotic flying dragonfly. His co-worker told him that his daughter already had 3 of these drones and that she decided to give you one of the spares. Powell was then seen giving him a side shoulder hug and a special hand to fish shake. Alright. Powell starts playing alright. Yada yada, taking aerial sorts of laser sports and No, okay, yada 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 yada. Pal's boss Rotor, 1 month prior to Pal's birthday, agreed in front of a UN Human Rights Council to send one of his finest raging troops to the Amazonian rainforest in order to help clear the area of poachers who were cutting down trees and killing animals illegally and drug encroachers, as well as to get rid of any leftover chemicals from the illegal drug market before being performed in the Amazonian rainforest. This situation of illegal activity in the Amazon has been getting worse to the point of moral panic within the Brazilian government. However, the week he was supposed to prepare one of his finest ranging troops to the Amazon was the week when that employee got sick, or one of his employees had gotten sick from a terrible cold they had caught from a dying animal, which they rescued a week prior. Thus, none of them were available on that very important and crucial week. Mr. Powell, however, was one of the employees not part of that animal rescue mission that he didn't catch. Thus, he didn't catch any viruses. So, as I did there, I created a little bit of a plot hole in the story to somehow get Mr. Powell involved in this Amazon trip. The only employee, okay, we got that, was confidential in his experience. There was such a thing as Mr. Powell, who often went on rescue missions, rescue operations, and overseas humanitarian aid, mainly in New Zealand, Timor Leste, Caledonia, Papua New Guinea, and Indonesia, and other nearby countries and islands. Alright. Roden told Powell about the situation. Powell agreed to help. Powell started packing up his belongings from his cabin and from his personal home in the hills. Okay. He went on a plane trip to Brazil, to which he was greeted by a UN human rights spokesperson for Brazil. He was told what he needed to do and gladly did his job. After cleaning up as much leftover chemicals from the ground and placing them in a chemical bin, he decided to catch these criminals using his remote-controlled Dragonfly drone toy. The chemical bin already had some chemical spillage inside it, for it was used by the drug encroachers to drop their leftover chemicals. He managed to hide his Dragonfly drone in a camouflaged bush and get photos and locations of several poachers, as well as encroachers selling drugs to the indigenous tribes of the region. Several poachers and encroachers were then immediately tracked down and arrested by the Brazilian police. Powell, however, a unique item invented by his boss Rotor, which became a bit loose due to the work he was doing. The tribal chief entered the area in order to approach Mr. Powell and to congratulate him on securing his traditional homelands from malicious harm. Using his remote control, he was directing his Dragonfly drone to fly back towards its designated area. However, he was controlling it, Mr. Powell, Runeo, controlling it a bit too carelessly and controlling it to go a bit too fast towards him. The Dragonfly drone then accidentally struck a Brazilian harpy eagle on the side, which scared the harpy eagle, causing the eagle to panically fly into Powell's shoulder, and the metal walkie-talkie watch got caught on the harpy eagle's upper wing, so the harpy eagle pulled his wing forward into the air, with Mr. Powell's special watch still caught on his upper wing. Yeah, some of these I made a few grammar mistakes, but I can easily be fixed later on. The impact sent Powell's metal watch metal walkie-talkie out of his wrist onto the air and into one of the chemically filled bins, causing a moderate impact. The chemical bin then rolled down on the ground, along with the metal watch with the bin, making a loud crashing noise, and fell down the nearby waterfall. At first, Powell was reluctant to check out what happened at the bottom of the waterfall, but the tribal chief advised Powell that it would be wise to climb down the rocks and check out what happened below the bottomless pit. After carefully but quickly climbing down the rocks to the bottom of the waterfall, Pal witnessed a puff of grey smoke surrounded by a black hole-like portal in the middle of the streams of water. After the smoke disappeared, there was an empty patch of land which was immediately filled up with water again. Pal noticed something floating in the water. I don't know where I got immediately from. It was his silver metal watch, walkie-talkie, except he noticed it was much shinier than before. Grew extra buttons around the bottom, which seemed to have developed a holographic ability, completely normal. Puzzled and curious at first, he decided to dismiss it as a weird nuclear reaction of different chemical materials being combined. He placed the watch in his pocket and examined it when he arrived back into his temporary apartment. This new nuclear-powered metal watch would go on to be very influential in the next chapter of Pal's life, functioning as a time-traveling, holographic, teleporting, and alternate dimensional device. And then we go here. Just gonna go to the one. This is actually about the game itself. This word article I wrote. But I'm just gonna make, because I added a mission here I want to add to the game, which is about Akhenaten, the ancient Egyptian pharaoh. If I just find it, I'll find it somewhere. Here we go, because it was that down where the storyline was. Okay, I'll just show you some of the characters that will be in the game. Alright? So the first character will be Pal Runeo. Second character that I'm going to introduce into the game will be the materially incarnated persona of evolution as a rock creature. And then there will be spirit beings from the highest realms of existence. So like beings like angels and demons, those sorts of spiritual beings. But not exactly. Future rock mutated humans from the future. I probably don't need to add future twice. Amazonian Brazilian tribes. Drug encroachers. Rotor Zechili. I think that's how you say it. I can't even pronounce my own characters' names properly. What's going on? Ziki Manati, clan leader of the Tirina tribe in the Amazonian rainforest jungle in Brazil. Joshua Emer, the future rock mutated human. Runeo meets in the future in a fourth dimensional reality. The Earth's continents are connected into one landmass again in this timeline called New Pangaea. He is introduced through a long cutscene. Xenophobe, alien explorer from Nibiru. He's introduced as well through a cutscene, who was given a mission from his planet's monarchical government to make sure the Nibiru cataclysm doesn't happen and life on Earth is preserved. He's also seen talking to Pal Runeo and telling him to keep watch of the Earth's local solar system. And if he spots anything suspicious or could perhaps cause any damage, Pal is to notify Xenophobe immediately. So I even got a separate article page for Xenophobe. And this is Xenophobe right here. I actually already made a video about him. But this is my drawing of Xenophobe. This is basically Xenophobe, a rock alien creature from Nibiru. This explains. Just pause the video because I already went through it in another video. I did make some minor changes to it. Just redrew it. Pause if you need to. There we go. Yep. 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 We're back. Yep. 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 Keep saying yep. There we go. And there we go. Now back here. Farmers and are members of various caste systems such as merchants, peasants, commoners, the rich, royalty, excuse me, builders, teachers, priests, which appear throughout the game in various different time periods. Akhenaten. Bro, here I was just talking about Akhenaten. Bro, in this game, Pal Runeo decides to use his detective skills to determine what drove Akhenaten to enforce the mono-idolatrous worship of the Aten sun disk. The beginnings of the Troll tribes of Israel, is also investigated by Pal Runeo in this time period, because it's around the same time period. Akhenaten finds out about Pal's spying, and thinks he is working for the Hittites. As such, Pal is dragged into his temple by his board watchers. He waves his pharaohic, oh my god, pharaohic, I just butchered that word, roll into the air and turns Pal into an accursed small bear. Because apparently in this video game, magic is also possible. He also marks on his forehead in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, cowardly cub. Gives him the formal name of Amun Nefti. Now Amun is the name of a powerful god, but considering he's more into the Aten sun disk, giving him the former name of Amun Nefti to a guy he calls cowardly little cub is probably not too, doesn't worry, I cannot be too much. You continue to play the entire progress of the level as this new character. Pal does not appear until you finish the level. Even if you go into another level, you will stay stuck as this character until you finish the level. After you finish the ancient Egyptian level, you can choose in the mini menu which character you would like to play as, Pal Runeo or Amun Nefti. The Egyptian hieroglyphs also change from Cowardly Cub to the Victorious Tiny. I like that. I did come up with what I'm saying. However, you can still play as this character in other regions, but with different results. For example, in medieval Europe, if you talk to someone in the small bear state, they will think a witch cast a demonic spell on you and a local mob will try to kill you, in which you will have to try and escape to a safe oasis. The Great Peacemaker, so that's the founder of the Iroquois Confederacy in northwestern America. Cyrus the Great and Darius the First of Achaemenid Persia. Igogami, main clan leader of the Kotika people tribes. I forgot which one the Kotika people belong to. It's either African or South American. I'll have to look that up. The Incan Emperor Pachacuti. His main role in the game is for Pal Runeo to keep Pachacuti safe and to make sure Aztec explorers don't figure out his hiding spot, Machu Picchu. Because if you didn't guys know, Pachacuti is actually the Incan emperor that built Machu Picchu as his own personal kind of like isolated oasis. If the Aztecs find out about his hiding spot, failed objective, then Pal Runeo has to help Pachacuti soldiers fight them all. However, this causes Incan expansion to become delayed, as well as forced trading networks with the Aztecs. Previous tribes under Incan control join a friendly alliance with the Aztecs. This in turn causes the Aztecs to become the main pre-Columbian powerhouse in the Americas, thus making it a bit more difficult for future Spaniards conquer the Andean plains due to more centralized Aztec-controlled territories. That makes sense. Eric the Red, the Viking who founded colonial settlements on the far western Canadian coast. In this level, you play as the small bear, but in this level, you are not known as Amun Nefti, but as Willahim, the Victorious Tiny, as named by Eric the Red's close companions. From this point onwards, the small bear disguise is not known as simply Amun Nefti or the Victorious Tiny, but as Willahim, the Victorious Tiny. I like it. Captain Cook. Pal, in this level, Pal plays entirely as a detective to hide from suspicion, the Time Matrix Watch suggests to him it is wise to keep playing as the bear in order to keep out of sight. Powell nods his head in agreement, and the level is played by the small bear character with the name Wilhelm the Bear, or Wilhelm the Victorious Time. So yeah, this is it, guys. Not completely it, but that's my future. My future for my video game, and that's basically Pal Runeo's biography, as well as the people who will be in my video game. So here is Xenophobia, as well as Xenophobia will look like, and this is not exactly, but this is what how Runeo will look like, similar to this. So yeah guys, thanks for watching.